right, happy Monday. Happy Game of Thrones Monday.
Oh, I love it, man. Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. Very happy Monday. Well, not so happy for Daenerys, but happy Monday.
Gosh, yeah.
Now, before we get into this, it should go without saying, but spoilers. We're going to spoil the hell out of this episode because we're going to discuss it. So, you have been warned.
Who's been warned?
This is usually where you chime in and say something. But
I'm sorry, man. I'm a little out of it today, but we'll be all right. No, it was a good episode. I thought it was a good episode.
It was a very good episode. A little long and drawn out, in my opinion, just because it's the final season. I think I expect more of these episodes. Like in any other season, this episode would have been great. But I feel like I know that there's now only 2 after this. I'm like, come on, man, let's make some big moves. And I get what they're doing. Like and again, I'm not bored at all. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very happy and satisfied with the episode, but I guess with only 6 episodes and it being the final season, I just expected every episode to not necessarily have a lot of action, but like big moves happening. You know what I mean? But I mean, they are slowly in the works. I said, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I said a while back that I thought that what would happen with Lord Varys is once he found out Jon was the true heir to the throne, he would start supporting Jon. And Daenerys already told Lord Varys, if you betray me, I will burn you. You go behind my back one more time, I will burn you. And I think that's what we made moves toward tonight. But anyways, before we get into the episode, let us introduce ourselves in case you found us randomly on the internet. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dad. Now, obviously from the name, we do talk about The Walking Dead, but that's just a tiny portion of what we do on the podcast.
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. We sure do. We talk about things. We interact.
Yeah, we dance sometimes. I mean, you guys don't get to see it, but we do.
I was dancing just a little while ago.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But if you if you like podcasts in general, consider hitting the subscribe button because what does it hurt? And on top of that, we do a variety of things. We do current events on Tuesdays. We do Random Rambling Wednesdays. We have Mail Call on Thursdays. Mondays, Game of Thrones, and that'll turn into Fear the Walking Dead when that comes back on. And we've got even more things. JP and I were just actually discussing a new podcasting idea a little bit earlier this morning. So lots of cool things. And if you stay tuned after the podcast, we'll give you some social media info and you can follow us a little bit more closely, I guess, if you are into what we're doing. So let's get into this episode. Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 4. I don't want to... we usually try to stay in order, but it's really hard. And I'm just going to jump right into... Did you see that dragon death coming?
Nah, man.
Dude, what the hell, man? Like 0 to 100. I think I was sadder for that dragon to die like that than most people that have died on this show.
Yeah, it really was out of nowhere. I mean, Euron just runs up on him, and they don't even see him coming.
Euron
he's got some
sucks.
Heavy artillery.
I hate Euron.
Yeah,
I hope he dies. He's a nasty, terrible, sorry son of a bitch.
Yeah, but he's so great at it,
You got to admire that about him.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's a scumbag, and he just takes that.
He owns it, man.
He's
a nasty bastard, and he's just all about getting up in Cersei and getting up in dragons and whatever else.
He is
getting up in his father.
He's a scoundrel, but he is fun to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's one of those villains, kind of like on The Walking Dead, like we say with the governor or whatnot. Like you hate them, but they're fun to watch. You know what I mean?
He is a great, great villain.
And now he thinks that Jaime... Now, what's up with Jaime? Yes, we're going to jump all over the place. Sorry, man. It's going to be hard to go... Yeah, we're going to jump around. It's hard to go in order, you know what I mean? Especially with a long episode like that. But
yeah, well, I mean, basically it just starts out, we got the mass funeral and then the banquet for the funeral, the very somber
I bet that was a stinking-ass experience, man.
Yeah.
All those dead... Which, I mean, the Hound said something about, we can still smell these bodies burning, and that's what you're thinking about. But, man, I bet that stank. But we said goodbye, finally, to Jorah. We said goodbye. I'm trying to think of who all they showed on the pyre.
About 100,000 people.
Yeah, it was rough.
A lot of people.
Theon, it was rough. Poor Sansa. But yeah, and then we get to as soon as Daenerys named Gendry, the Lord, I was like, man, she's plotting. Like she's trying to do one of these things where you make people love you so they'll support her upcoming war effort.
Yeah, and it definitely gives her a lifelong ally.
And they even mentioned that in the episode, she did, about making her or Lord Varys, or, one of the two of them. There was a lot happening. One of them had mentioned, making a lifelong ally out of that. But some trouble in paradise between her and Jon. I mean, it is crazy to think, like, she's a Targaryen, so she's in her world and the thing she's grown up, I mean, family marrying family isn't that big of a deal. People did it. It's kind of commonplace. Whereas John, coming from the north, you know, they don't. That's not common.
The North's kind of like the conservative South in America, I guess. You know,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Not as freewheeling as those Yankees up there.
Right. So it's like, you know, Yankees. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, but nah, man, it's wild. A lot of love on the rocks. I mean, look at Arya's situation. You know, she's like, I ain't no lady.
Gendry, like I'm not.
I like that magic stick, but I ain't no lady.
You know what I was waiting for? I was waiting for her to, when she's like, I've never been a lady. I was waiting for her to turn her head and pull the mask off, and she's the faceless man. And
oh my god!
He's like, ugh, but we had sex, and he's like, you had sex? I had sex with Arya. You had sex with no one.
Oh my god. Why you got to go there?
Oh, man. But yeah, so she's just like, she's obviously going to try to kill Cersei herself. Yeah. I think that's where she's going. They're going to King's Landing. Like, she's getting away, especially after hearing the news about Jon. She's like,
the Hound's going to take on the Mountain, and she's going to take on Cersei. And
I was watching a video where they said no Clegane Bowl. Like, we weren't going to see the Cleganes fight, but I think now we definitely are.
I believe we will.
They're heading to King's Landing.
If the Mountain is even really Clegane, and he's really just a walking Frankenstein, and I think the Hound's going to realize that. If anything, he's just putting him out of his misery.
Right. Maybe he won't kill him because he hates his brother and giving him that almost for that type of state of life and death. It's kind of like mercy to kill him. You know what I mean? So he might not give him the mercy, or maybe he will give him mercy and kill him, and that's kind of like showing the character growth. But you know, I think that's going to happen. And then it's just the conversation between Daenerys and Jon, like she's straight up like, don't tell anybody. And then this motherfucker goes out and tells somebody, and they tell somebody. And it's just, I love what Lord Varys said. And he was like, you know, how many people know, blah, 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 a handful of people. It's no longer a secret. It's information.
Yeah, but he had to tell his sisters.
Do you think Tyrion's going to rat him out to Daenerys? He definitely seems, it seems like maybe Tyrion might inform Daenerys that Lord Varys is not, on her side.
I don't like thinking about it, man, but he's got to make a decision because, Varys is, he's straight up going to try to off a queen. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Well, and it's like and this is in his second time being a part of taking her out. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was tied into the assassination attempt, but. It's lines are being drawn, man, and now that Sansa knows this information, she's definitely learned from Littlefinger, like the power. You don't have to be mighty with the sword. Sometimes just knowing what information and what moves to make can put you at the top. And she, like they were saying at the behind the scenes, she was thinking like in chess, she's thinking moves ahead. She knows that if she shares that information with Tyrion, that he's going to go share that information with Lord Varys, and it's going to get out and it's going to play in favor because they all know, just like Daenerys fears, if it gets out that Jon is truly the rightful heir to that throne, they're going to all get behind him and be like, to hell with Daenerys.
She's only going to keep that info under her hat for so long.
Well, she can't because it's out there now. It doesn't take long. They even talked on the show about how fast information will spread within a day or so. So, it's like, it's going to get out there, man. And poor Daenerys sees a girl get beheaded right there on top. And poor Grey Worm. That was so sad.
Poor everybody,
I felt bad for him, man. He's part of the Unsullied. They don't know love and relationships, and he kind of gets one, and then he watches her head get chopped off. I love when she yelled Dracarys, though. It's kind of like, give them hell.
Yeah, everybody's getting their heart broken this episode, you know what I mean?
Now, Jon ain't got no dragon to ride.
No, he doesn't.
Not unless Daenerys is going to scooch over and let him ride shotgun on hers.
You think she's going to put him in the bitch seat? Like on a motorcycle, he's going to have to ride behind her? And
she's got like a sidecar attached to the dragon.
Yeah.
Daenerys, I feel like I would be much more useful on the ground with our troops. Shut up, Jon.
Oh, jeez.
You can't tell anybody up here. I think she's going to, I really feel like, they've said for a while Daenerys is really the true villain of this show because we've seen it from her side the whole time, we tend to, and we know she's got some good intentions. And I'm not saying I 100% think she's the villain, but I definitely think she's kind of going down a villainous route because, she feels she is owed the throne. But at the end of the day, wasn't the whole thing just to get the Targaryens back on the throne and take back the kingdom?
She's
for
about
the Targaryens,
to torch thousands of civilians,
innocent people, and then it's like so she's becoming what like they said she's becoming, and she's too war hungry. Varys and they're trying to tell her like, look, Sansa's like our people need to heal. We've got half our troops are injured. I mean, they need time to recover and to heal. And, Daenerys is not thinking rationally. She's, I think in her mind, she thinks the longer she sits back, the stronger Cersei's going to grow, which is true to an extent. But I mean, while they were fighting the White Walkers, Cersei and them weren't just sitting in place. Like they've been ready. You know what I mean? They're planning. They knew that they were going to either be fighting the White Walkers or they were going to be fighting Daenerys. So, I mean, they've been preparing.
Yeah, I mean, Cersei's basically using all these people as human shields, so.
I love how evil she is, man.
But at least she's unapologetic. Like, I mean, there's no, like, veiled good intentions here, you know what I mean?
Nope. That's what I liked about. I mean, he's not nearly on Cersei's level, and I won't digress that long. But that's one thing I like about that game I've been playing. At least where I'm at in the game so far. Days Gone, that new zombie kind of open world game. Right. Like he's not a character he's not a good guy having to do bad things. Mm-hmm. You truly are playing as an anti-hero. Like he's only doing things that will benefit him. You know what I mean? You go off on this mission and do this for these people. You're not bringing them medicine because you care about them. You're bringing them medicine because you know you're going to get money from them or whatever. And it's kind of the way Cersei is. She's just straight up like her only redeeming quality is that she loves her children more than herself. That's the only time she seems to have cared about anyone more than herself. But with that said, she's just an evil person.
Yeah, and it's like Daenerys, she wants to put an end to tyranny, be, one just ruler, but she's willing to kill, like hundreds of thousands of people to do it?
Right. She's willing to become a tyrant to destroy tyranny, which at the end of the day doesn't really accomplish anything.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the end of World War II. They said that dropping those A-bombs on Japan avoided like a ground war that would have caused way more ground casualties, so I guess she's kind of, just... She's
thinking it's a sacrifice. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few type thing.
Yeah, just, deploying her nuclear option.
But, I mean, what's bad is with all those giant crossbows, man, that dragon almost doesn't stand it. I mean, like, they really have kind of taken away her main weapon. I mean, if she would have had 2-3 dragons without those giant crossbows, she wouldn't even need an army. You know what I'm saying? The dragons themselves could have just rolled in and roasted all of King's Landing and been done with it. But now she's got one dragon, and that dragon is extremely vulnerable. I mean, strategic-wise, first order of operations, we need to figure out how to take out those giant crossbows so we can then get the dragon in.
It's wild, man.
And let him. I felt so bad. They didn't just kill that dragon either. Remember, the Night King, threw that one spear and the dragon crashed. I mean, they messed this dragon up, like spear to the gut, spear to the chest, spear to the neck and the head. And I'm just, oh, man, I felt so bad. Yeah. So bad for that dragon.
Yeah, man, some bad stuff coming out of Winterfell or on their way out of Winterfell.
2 more episodes.
But you know what I liked in Winterfell? Number 1, we saw Bronn come back and make a deal with Jaime and Tyrion.
And weren't we talking about that like last week or the week before? We were like, the deal that Tyrion, we mentioned that, like the deal that Tyrion had made with him back in like season 2, about the whole, or the season 1. I'm sorry. It's been so long since I've went, it's season 1 or 2. I thought 2, but maybe 1. But where, Tyrion says, if anyone ever hires you to kill me, I'll pay double, And we were talking about, like, we wondered if that would come into play, but, like, what could he really offer? A dragon, And he offers Highgarden.
Highgarden, man.
He's
Bronn's going to be the Lord of Highgarden.
Bronn's playing it smart, man. He's not really loyal to anybody. He's just moving in and taking opportunities to make gains himself, but...
Yeah, and he straight up said, I'm not going to war with y'all. My fighting days are over.
Right.
I like that,
but my killing days aren't.
Yeah, dude. I'm liking where Bronn is. I'm liking where Jaime is, at least what
I didn't. I mean, I'm glad him and Brienne. I kind of didn't want him and Brienne to get together. It's a weird thing to explain. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I kind of did want her and Tormund to get together. But
I wonder if they're going to live in Castle Black now.
That's what he said. Yeah, they were heading back to Castle Black. I kind of was relieved. I'm like, all right, if Tormund goes away, that means he's not going to die. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to come back and save the day, kind of like the Knights of the Vale did in Battle of the Bastards. Like, I think Tormund and all of his people are going to come rolling into King's Landing and, really help out. But That was one of the funniest episodes of Game of Thrones I've seen in a while. Like, Tormund's like, that fucker just rolled in and took her from me.
It didn't take him long to bounce back.
No, but Jaime, I don't know, man. Like, sometimes it's cool in shows when you have a guy and a girl that are really good friends and there's just this bond between them, but it doesn't always have to be romantic. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes in life you do meet people of the opposite sex that it's not even really a sexual thing. There's just a friendship and a bond, you know.
So
but
give me your thoughts on where Jaime's head is right now.
I think he's just addicted to Cersei. I think that like they said it when they were talking about the episode after it, they were talking about, you know, like this was him trying to turn over a new leaf, and they think, you know, like when he said he was going to stay back with Brienne when they went to ride to war. That was him trying to like live this new life and be happy and turn a new leaf, and he tried. But at the end of the day, Cersei's a drug he can't give up.
Well, you know,
unless not to interrupt you, sorry, I'll forget this. Unless he's secretly writing and his plan all along is to go kill her.
Oh, that's what I was getting ready to say.
It was
so
it.
you just kind of took the wind.
I just took your thunder.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
but no, it's fine. No, I was two things that stuck out to me. He said, you know, you've never ran away from a fight, right? And he said, I'm just as hateful as her. So in my mind, the fight was he's got unfinished business, and that's taking care of Cersei,
right?
And he doesn't want to just be on the sidelines. I mean, this is the war to end all wars. So
right, he knows his sister is, you know.
Yeah, and you know, he may be going down there with mixed feelings. He may not know what he's going to do, but
I feel like he's going to go to kill her. He's going to get the chance to kill her, and then he's not going to be able to do it, and she's going to kill him.
And plus, at the end of the day, she's carrying his baby.
Right.
He also knows that.
That's true, man. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, man. I don't know where Jaime. Like I said, I kind of felt like, you know, his unfinished business is just, you know, wiping the slate with Cersei clean, getting rid of her, but she's carrying his baby, man. So
yeah, but this is Game of Thrones, man. I think it might be a sacrifice he's willing to make if it'll, you know. And I like how we revisited, because last podcast you were talking about how, like, Lord Varys, his loyalty is to the realm, not to people.
Realm, yeah.
And, like, he reiterated that this time. Like, he's about the realm. He's going to go. And that's admirable, you know, in a time where everybody's, you know, in it for self-interest. And, yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't have any self-interest, but, I mean, at the end of the day, his goal is to protect the realm and make that happen by any means necessary. And it sucks because he's probably going to die for it. But he is like, look, man, I'm just trying to, you know, and I mean, he had a lot of valid points. I mean, we all know that Jon would be a better ruler than Daenerys.
Yeah.
Jon's calculated. Jon is a good strategist.
He's not the product of incest.
No, he's not. So. No, he's not. But he's participating in incest.
Yeah. You know, unknowingly at first, and
right.
Which they haven't boned since he found out, have they?
No, it doesn't. No, It's like they were going to, and then it's like he just remembered all of a sudden. You're my aunt, man. Like, and then we, and then let's see, the drinking game, basically the medieval version of Never Have I Ever.
Yeah. And you remember Bronn and Tyrion and the old prostitute gal? They played that, in like season 2?
Yeah, it was a while back. I can't wait to go back and rewatch.
What was
the
her
show.
name? I forgot. I totally forgot.
You're talking about Tyrion's Flo.
Yeah, Squeeze. Flo. Right. That was And I'm actually I'm in season 2 now. I'd been watching pretty steady, but anyway. It's definitely good, man. There's been a lot of callbacks to those early seasons.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of, everything's kind of coming full circle.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. We saw Ghost. A lot of people were like, is Ghost alive? Is he dead? And now he's going to go with the wildlings back to Castle Black, which is, you know, which is where I think he belongs. But yeah, I don't know, man. So what are your thoughts going into next week? What do you think we can expect? Shay. I said Flo. Her name is Shay.
Yeah. I couldn't remember.
I knew it's been a while since I've watched that, and I liked her. She's actually a real life porn star. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
She's like a real life porn star. That's awesome. She's got porn out there. But I knew it was something short and simple, but it's been so long since I went back and rewatched that run with her. But yes, Shay. I knew it was something short and sweet. I don't know why Flo came to mind. She's a progressive chick.
Yeah.
There's so many people. That's what it's so funny about the podcast. There's so many people. You're going to see, even though I clarified that, right? And I was like, oh, I'm wrong. Her name's Shay. Duh. Watch how many people are going to comment. Her name was Flo. I mean, her name was Shay. Flo, what the hell? Her name's Shay. Like, if you would just listen a little longer before you go angrily to the comments, right there, you might actually hear, you know. But, no, Shay. But that was, strangled her with on the bed upside down, man.
I'm telling you. There's not going to be any reasoning with Daenerys going into the next episode.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I wonder, I 2 more episodes.
2 more.
2 more. Poor Brienne, man. Like, she's a virgin. She's never really had relationships. She gets one. We've known she's loved Jaime for a long time. Mm-hmm. She gets that butt. Everything's happy. They're sleeping in the same bed. Like, he ain't just hitting it and quitting it and running out. Like, he's straight up, like, going to stay with her. And then poor thing, man, just left in tears and as he rides off, like poor Brienne, man. I like it when he's like, I've never had sex with a knight. She's like, I've never slept with anyone.
Yeah. Jamie should have been like, except for that night, except
for that wild night
in the Riverlands, and
Cersei and I were feeling frisky. We pulled a knight into the room, and I fucked him. Excuse my language. Oh man, we usually don't curse.
Well, it's Game of Thrones. If someone's watching Game of Thrones, I think they know the deal.
Hopefully.
But nah, man, it's going to be a barn burner. Generally with Game of Thrones, the episode before the season finale, or in this case, the series finale, usually you get all the action, and that last episode's kind of an epilogue, like a wrap-up.
Kind of like you said about this past season of The Walking Dead. You felt like the Head Pike episode was like the real finale, and then the actual finale was more like epilogue, kind of guiding us into what's to come next season type deal.
I feel like everything that's going to happen
except for there's no next season
next week, and then we're just going to get a nice little somber farewell to the show, in 2 weeks.
Well, I think I read somewhere where Daenerys said that everybody's gawking over episode 3, and episode 5 is way bigger than episode 3.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if they do the series finale like 90s sitcom style. It's just a big clip show.
Like it's basically like a cheap flashback, like Tyrion will be like, how about the time, blah, 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 in Blackwater, and it'll be like playing fun, spunky music. What if it's like the Battle of Blackwater, and it's like Tyrion's running, like it's all slow-mo. I will remember you. You see somebody get on fire screaming.
Yeah.
Will you? That'd be dope. I'd be down for that.
God, hopefully the Hound doesn't die.
I feel like he is, but I hope he doesn't. Game of Thrones has definitely done it. It's been hard, man. Some people predict this show really well. I haven't been able to predict much of anything.
I wonder if Arya does have sexual feelings for the Hound. I know it's gross, but I mean,
I don't think
she's very fond of him, and she's got the father issues.
Man, what if she still kills the Hound? He was on her list.
Yeah, that's something that kind of crossed my mind as well.
Like, what if, he helps her? Or, it might be one of those things where he gets wounded and she finishes him off out of mercy, but, they reference him being on her list.
I'm telling you, though, man, these girls with daddy issues, they'll do some nasty stuff.
You think at the end, like, Ned Stark's going to be sitting on the throne, like, with his head stitched on?
Oh, God.
Before the Red Woman died.
Yeah, did some voodoo on me.
But I don't know, man. And no, for those diehards, we don't think Ned Stark's coming back as a stitched-headed
Probably
ruler,
not, but you never know.
You don't ever really know.
You never know.
And Bran, man, like it's so funny because when he's like, "It's your choice," to Sansa and Arya sitting out there, they probably thought he was just saying like, "It's your choice to go with Daenerys or to side with us." But like, he's talking about it's your choice to tell him or not.
Yeah.
Bron's just so creepy, man. He's just always just like, he's the three-eyed raven, but he's just always just kind of not, he's there, but he's not there.
Yeah, man. You think we'll get any more intel on the Night King and the White Walkers? You think they'll even tread that ground, or pretty much we've found out what we're going to find out?
I wanted it, man, but I don't think so. But I think I read somewhere like in one of these prequel shows coming out that they're going to give us a lot of history on the Night King.
Right.
I don't know. That's what Brad and I were talking about. Like, just give me something. Like, I expected Bran to explain something or, whatever in this episode about the Night King, but we really didn't get much of anything on him.
So is the next series going to be about the first age, like the first men and the children of the
I don't know. I know it's going to be, I've heard like some stuff has been scrapped. I know at one point they wanted to do like the young Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon, like Robert's War. They wanted to kind of do a series on that, and then they wanted to do one like way back at the first men.
I want to go a lot further. Let's get away from this altogether and go way back.
To like Bran the Builder.
Something, man.
Or even further back than that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because like I said, they just scrapped one. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a guy that I think, and I might be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have any problem being wrong, but I think I read he wrote episode 3. The Long Night, the Battle at Winterfell. I feel like he wrote that. He's the one that wrote that. And he's the one that had proposed this idea for one of the prequels, and HBO just scrapped it recently.
But they are going to do a prequel series.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
confirmed.
It's just, they were actually planning on a couple of them,
That'd be great, man. Just a Game of Thrones verse. If the quality stays consistent, I don't see why not.
Right? Just like The Walking Dead, which I don't think The Walking Dead's quality control is quite as good as Game of Thrones, but or close to as good as Game of Thrones. But did you see the little video with Daenerys? We might have discussed this on the podcast. I can't remember. But the video where Daenerys was in Times Square, not Daenerys, Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys, was in Times Square. And basically they have this thing where basically you can win to where you hang out with Emilia Clarke and you get to watch the finale with her ahead of time and all of that stuff. And so she dressed up as Jon Snow and walked around Times Square. And it was one girl, she asked her straight up, she was like, "Do you like Game of Thrones?" And the girl's like, "No, I like The Walking Dead."
I'm telling you, man, that'd be so weird as an actor, to have to hang out with a stranger and like watch the show with them I don't know, man, I wouldn't be into it.
You wouldn't be into it?
No.
If you were famous, you wouldn't spend time with your fans?
I mean,
I would. It'd be weird, but I mean, at the end of the day, you wouldn't be anything without fans, so why not, do a little something special for some of them? Because, like our podcast, what would be the point if no one listened?
But, I mean, that feels to me like sitting in a room with some random fan and just listening to the podcast with them. And I don't know.
I see what you mean. I mean,
what I'm saying?
Yeah, like sitting there watching your work with them.
Like maybe like a nice dinner or something, but just like straight up just like listening to the podcast with them.
Or maybe like a private Q&A or something.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they give you some merchandise. I feel you on the watching your work with a fan.
Yeah.
Because then as the fan, you're like, if you didn't like it, it was great.
Right.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Emilia Clarke. I love Emilia Clarke. She's so awesome.
Yeah, man. I hope she gets some good work after this.
Oh, I have
she,
no doubt.
She had kind of a stutter step in that Terminator movie.
Yeah, I didn't think she was that bad. I just didn't think it. I didn't. Number one, I really wasn't feeling the movie, and two, she just was not a good Sarah Connor.
Yeah. I'm hoping the next Terminator is going to be great. But we'll talk about that on another podcast.
Once it got to 2, after that for me, it just
James Cameron left. That's why it all went to went to pop.
For me, the climax of the Terminator series is 2.
Yeah, well, that's really where it ends. As far as I'm concerned, everything after that's almost just like
Elseworlds Tales or something. Yeah.
But James Cameron's coming back for the next installment, so it's going to pick up after T2 and.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like an executive producer or something.
Anyway. But let's see. I'm trying to see who all we haven't covered because there was a lot this episode. A lot of dialogue driven.
We got Jamie,
a lot of setup. We got
Braun.
Sansa is making moves. And I don't know that necessarily Sansa wants the throne herself as much as she just wants the Starks to have. You know what I mean? Like
she wants the North.
I think she's kind of
a sovereign, independent. North.
Right. And I think that she's kind of like. The opposite of like I said, Daenerys, I said a while back that we would see once she found out about Jon, back when it was still just a theory. I remember talking to Brad and was like, well, we'll find out, like if she finds out Jon's the true heir to the throne, win-win for her, right? Because Targaryens still get to sit the throne. And then once we found out that Jon was a Targaryen and they were sleeping together, it's like, well, she should be happy now. He's going to sit the throne and she's going to be his queen. Whatever, And if she gets jealous over that, then we see that it's not about her family's name and it's all about her, which is what we're seeing out of her. Whereas Sansa's just like, man, I want the Starks to rule Winterfell. I don't really, I don't think she cares so much about being the one to rule. I think she's fine with Jon ruling. But she just wants the Starks to have Winter, like I said, to be a sovereign.
Yeah, she wants the North
sovereign
to be
land.
independent. Yeah.
And Daenerys doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Which does kind of go against everything Daenerys is like preaching, though. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you're allies with them. Why not let them be their sovereign nation under the agreement that you guys are allies? You'll back each other up.
She's kind of contradictory. I mean, no more tyrants, but at the same time, it's
you
all
must
about,
serve under me.
Yeah, it's the 7 kingdoms or nothing,
Right, and it's like, I get where she's coming from, but at the end of the day, these are your allies. They've helped you. Blah, 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 blah. Why not just say, you know what, I'll grant you sovereignty, but we're allies. That's my condition. If I need you, which I guess that would kind of go against being it because then you would have to go. But at the same time, Daenerys will back you up because being just the North, you're going to be threatened constantly by people that want to come in and take over. So now you have Daenerys' dragons and her armies to back you up if that ever happens. So, it's kind of people are too stubborn in this show.
Would you have rather seen the Night King's army overtake Winterfell, flood the north, and like a lot more people die, and the last survivors?
Oh yeah,
are divided between the Iron Islands and King's Landing.
I don't know about all that, but I totally wanted to see the White Walkers storm King's Landing. I thought that would have been dope.
Cersei and Daenerys just in the throne room is like the White Walkers are clawing,
like dying together in the throne room.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. I did want to see White Walkers in King's Landing more than Winterfell. Like, I wanted to see White Walkers storming King's Landing, just the look on Cersei's face, realizing they can't win.
Yeah, I think it would have been great, like the last stand of man, to be on the Iron Islands, like the seas freeze over. I mean, maybe
so the White Walkers have taken everything except this one point.
I mean, maybe it skips like a year. Like I said, the seas freeze over. The White Walkers are marching towards the Iron Islands. It's down to like Tyrion and Jon Snow, and I don't know. Maybe that's a good what if for like down the road.
Yeah. And then poor Tyrion, man. Like, the guy's just trying to bring about peace. You know what I mean? Like, he tells Cersei, like, just surrender. You can live. Just let's stop this. And I thought it was badass of him, though, when he just walked right on by and just walked right up to her, And I definitely, because it's Game of Thrones, I think we knew she wasn't going to kill him then and there. But I really thought she was going to just, when she put her hand up, just go, and we were going to watch Tyrion get, like, mowed down right there.
It makes you want, I totally thought I wasn't expecting it, but I was like, he could very well die right here and now.
I mean, just get lit up, and it's maybe that would have inspired something in Daenerys and all of them. I don't know, but...
Yeah, he's definitely in a weird place, because deep down, I think he knows Varys is right.
Oh, he totally knows Varys is right. I think it's just that he knows he's jumped ship and been back and forth so many times that he wants to find someone he believes in and stick with them no matter what, even though he totally knows Lord Varys is right.
And not only that, he knows getting rid of Daenerys means they're going to have to get rid of Daenerys. She's going to have to die before she'll give up.
Because she'll never give it up.
No.
And I mean, at the end of the day, too, it's like... I mean, I would love to hear arguments in the comments section. I don't want you to argue, but I want to hear your thoughts. Who do you think would be the better ruler, Jon or Daenerys? I totally think Jon. I think Jon's a better strategist. I mean, definitely Daenerys has saved the day for him. But I mean, at the end of the day, as far as who would be a better ruler, I mean, Jon he's compassionate. He's not tyrannical. And like Varys said, what if the best person to rule is someone who doesn't want the throne? Yep. I vote Jon. Who would you vote?
Yeah, Jon is, he's the man.
But I don't think he's going to sit on the Iron Throne by the end of it. I feel like that. A lot of people, too, a lot of people think Arya is going to kill Cersei, like wearing Jaime's face. Like, what if that's it? Jaime's going to kill Cersei. Arya finds Jaime and kills him, takes his face. But a lot of people said they would be mad.
We're getting too deep, man. I got to step back. We're getting too speculative.
A lot of people are worried that they're going to let Arya kill Cersei, too, in which case she's getting too much thunder. I personally wouldn't mind Arya killing Cersei because basically it's Cersei and her family took everything from Arya. I mean, Jon had already left to go to the north. By all means, Jon was never going to see his family again. And
Arya's the most logical choice. I mean, she's an assassin.
Right.
The assassin of assassins. I mean...
But and a lot of people were mad that Arya is the one that killed the Night King. I like it. I don't like sometimes for shows to everything to come around full circle. It's just too perfect that Jon killed the Night King. You know what I mean? Like his knowledge of the Night King definitely helped contribute. He was a big asset to defeating the Night King. But me personally,
I would like to know how she got airborne like that.
She jumped.
She
if you look when she runs by that one White's like head or whatever, you see the hair kind of wisp up. Like I mean, she was like flashed by his ass, just went flying and just got airborne, man.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that third episode.
I loved it, honestly. It was unexpected. I didn't see it coming. I honestly, to this point, forgot all about Arya because I was just so into what was happening. I forgot she ran off,
Yeah, man. I love those images where they like adjust the lighting to where you can really see, what's going on.
I saw those.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Really cool. But I mean, that was the thing. I never took it being too dark as like a production flaw. I thought they were trying to give you that anxiety and that just like feeling of not knowing what was happening exactly, like kind of like these people were just in a dark fight for their life. And I get it. We're watching it. We want to see it. But sometimes I can have an appreciation for things like that because I had anxiety all through this episode, that episode, because I didn't know what was happening. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I understand where some people were coming from, so I'm not saying you're wrong. But me personally, it didn't bother me.
There were times where I was like, oh man, what.
And like the snowstorm, I mean, I totally think they shouldn't have shown us everything. I mean, that was the whole point, was to get you disoriented like Jon and Arya. I mean, Jon and Daenerys were, because you're just like, what the hell, you know? Danger lurks around every cloud, to say, you know. But I don't know, man. Some crazy schnit.
You ain't never lied
coming down
about
the pipe,
that.
man. Next episode, I think, is just going to be...
It's going to be the penultimate chapter.
It's I think you're exactly right. I think the 5th episode is going to be like the final showdown, like the fight, everything. The 6th episode will kind of be like a sign-off showing where everybody is, who's where, what's happening. And I don't know, some people thinking, I read some crazy theories that at the end of the show, it's going to reveal that this is way far in the future.
Yeah, dude. I think that'd be a cool notion. You know.
That it's like a sci-fi, like the magic started with science.
Right. Yeah, the dragons are a product of like genetic engineering or whatever.
Right, that the White Walkers are, you know, like the Children of the Four. All of that is due to like past science in the world.
I think that'd be cool. But I'm sure they'll never give us the answers with Seek.
No.
There'll never be an actual Genesis or origin story.
No. Well, we do got Fear the Walking Dead starting back up soon.
Yeah.
I got to say, though, I'm excited about it, but I'm not as excited as I was for last season.
I hope it's better than the second half. And like I said, there was a lot I liked about that second half of the last season, but it just...
First half was definitely better.
Yeah.
And I won't spoil it if you hadn't caught up with it, but I mean, I think the first half the problem is you took away most of the good characters.
Yeah.
And that's subjective. That's my opinion. Who I think is a great character, you might not think is a great character, so that doesn't really tell you anything. I'm just saying some of my favorites were just taken out. Some by choice, some because the actors or actresses wanted it. But
lots of good new shows on the horizon. We got Watchmen coming up on HBO.
We're going to cover that, too.
Series. Yeah.
We're going to cover that.
I would very much like to.
Yeah, we're going to podcast
about that. It's going to be a lot of good
that.
Sunday night watches. And if you know of any new TV shows on the horizon you'd like for us to cover, leave it in the comments section.
We would love to cover it for you.
Yeah, especially like I'm talking like season 1, like shows that are just getting ready to launch. I'm not trying to dive into like season 5 of Billions or something.
Right. I do still, man, one day in a perfect world, we're going to go back and you're going to watch Lost, and we're going to do a Lost podcast.
I know, man. So much ground to cover.
It is. I mean, you got to look at like they're not like Game of Thrones. There's like, gosh, I can't remember, but probably like 20 episodes a season or more, you know. And then you got 6 seasons. So I mean, it's something you are in there like an hour long. So
that's the only thing that's really kind of held me back, is I just know what a huge climb that's going to be.
But it's so worth it, dude. I've been through that show like 6 times.
I know a lot of people love that.
And it's not perfect. That's what I love about it, man. I actually met this very snooty film student. You know, he's going to school to be a film or an actor and whatever. And of course, you know, they think that gives them the edge. Like you know nothing of entertainment, but yet they're going to have to make things to entertain you. But anyways, he's like talking about, you know, shows and stuff. And I mentioned that Lost was my favorite. Yeah. And he's like, that's, man, from a writing standpoint and what I've learned in school, that's the worst written show of all time. And I was like, well, excuse my language, no shit. I mean, it definitely leaves a lot of questions and yada, 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 but that doesn't, the way I feel when I watch it and how much I love it doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's not perfect. It's a great show. It makes you cry. It's like a lot of questions. And I mean, I love it. But the writers explained that the problem was that they knew how they wanted to begin it. Mm-hmm. They knew a few key things. And they knew how they wanted to end it. But then you got these producers and the network telling you to introduce this. We want to do this and that. And then by the time you wrap it up, you haven't had time to come back around to everything.
Yeah, man. I had read, too, that they, you know, didn't want it to run nearly as long as it ran. But, you know, like you said, the network wants, you know, more product and they have to churn it out.
I think your main 2 writers there had said they were, by the time 6 came around, they were done. They were just exhausted with it, you know, and it's just one of those times where, like, that's what we like about, like with Game of Thrones. They just let the writers do their thing, you know what I mean? And you get a more complete story. But even with all of that, I'm like, I still love Lost. It's still my favorite show ever written. I've watched it like 6 times, and I was just thinking when Game of Thrones goes off, I'm probably going to start watching it again. Yeah. Along with Game of Thrones. I'm going to start back at the beginning of that. But yeah, good episode, man. Good season. I'm sure somebody out there is going to complain about how boring they thought the episode was, and I can see where you definitely were waiting for more to happen. But at the end of the day, you got to realize this show is a lot of setup.
No, I love.
But the payoffs to me are always worth the setup.
Yeah, man. I mean? It's the relationships between the characters. I mean, that's just as good as any battle or, you know, death scene or whatever.
Absolutely. It don't have to be all action all the time.
No.
I expected some, you know, and I mean, like I said, they set up a lot. I think they're setting up Varys to die. I think that, you know, Daenerys is being set up to be a tyrant and just like to basically like spiral out of control in a way.
Yep.
I think she's definitely going to wreak some havoc on King's Landing, especially, now she's going to probably have no problem killing those innocent people. But yeah, I think that she's going to, someone's going to, I don't know, man. I really don't know where it's going, and I don't want to know until it happens. So I'm so excited.
I'm telling you, man, if I can leave one final thought on the episode, when Bronn came back, his whole thing with Jaime and Tyrion was like, when I saw those two dragons, I knew Cersei couldn't win.
Right.
And I'd love to see a little scene where he sees one of the dragons just get shot down and just looking at it and just being like, oh, fuck me.
Or like as he's sailing back, they pass one of the dragon that one that died, and he's just like, damn it.
Yeah.
You think he's going to survive the series?
I hope. Man, he seems like the type that's just going to survive whatever. He'll eventually get his castle.
Think so?
I don't know.
You hope so.
I'd like to see it.
But let us know your thoughts. Discuss it in the comments, and we'll be back for Game of Thrones next Monday. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Current Events Tuesday. Woo. We're excited. It's going to be a good time.
Trending.
Make sure you follow us on social media. I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase, no apostrophes, nothing, 2 L's in Lloyd, just I'm Justin Lloyd. They get you Instagram, Snapchat, and Periscope. All lowercase, no spaces, JP Slim to get JP's Periscope.
Yeah, check it out. I didn't do a pregame show last night. I wish I had of, but I was out right up until 8:30, 8:45 before the show came on.
Your pregame show was like half of the excitement for last week.
I know.
I very much enjoyed the pregame Periscope you did.
I slacked up a little bit, but we'll get back on.
You had a long weekend, though. Your cousin had a baby. It was,
Yeah.
It was a long one.
And we will talk about stuff like that come Rambling Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday we do a completely random podcast where we talk about whatever. We talk about everything and nothing at the same time.
And I believe we'll be joined by our pal Matt Crowder, a local singer-songwriter. Check him out on YouTube, Matt Crowder, Me and JP, a great single.
You can find it anywhere music's being streamed.
Yeah, you sure can.
So we will catch you tomorrow if you're going to stick around for the podcast. If you're just here for Game of Thrones, then I guess we will catch you on Monday. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead.